Chapter 276. Su Yiyen had prepared a lot of food. She thought that it would be more than enough for a few people. She did not expect that this group of people would be like the reincarnation of gluttons who had been hungry for many years. They would not stop until they finished the food. In the end, except for her and Hu Chenhuan, the few people, including Uncle Zhang, ate until they were full. Ling Xiaoqi covered her round belly and took Su Yiyen to the small courtyard behind the manor for a walk. Zhou Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang followed Hu Chenhuan upstairs. What they said before was not entirely an excuse. They did have something to report to Hu Chenhuan. However, before Yu Zian called them, they did not have to come so early to be third wheels. Hu Qihan and his wife found out about Hu Xiaofeng and that woman falling into the water last night. It is said that he threw a big tantrum at the hospital and smashed a lot of things. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang looked confused. What? He smashed things in the hospital. Did he pay for it? Gu Xiaoyang suddenly twitched when he heard this. He found that his young master's style had changed after he got married. I don't think so. Then let him pay for it. Destroying public property is not what a good citizen should do. If he dares not to pay for it, let someone expose him. The head of the whole group flew into a rage in public and made a scene. I believe a lot of media outlets will like this report. Gu Xiaoyang was slightly stunned. Immediately, his eyes lit up and he said, I understand. Zhou Yanbai heard this and asked tentatively, are you going to completely fall out with Hu Qihan? At the wedding banquet last night, when he heard Hu Chenhuan openly say to those women that he was the only heir of the family Hu, he already had a guess in his heart. Now that he heard his young master's words, Zhou Yanbai was even more certain. I gave him time and opportunity, but he didn't take it. Hu Chenhuan twirled the wedding ring in her hand as a cold glint flashed across her eyes. He shouldn't have touched my people. Gu Xiaoyang and Gu Xiaoyang looked at each other and saw some understanding in each other's eyes. Sure enough, young madam was young master's only reverse scale. Anyone who touched her would die. However, this was exactly what they wanted. That's great. All these years, I've watched that family occupy that position with a clear conscience. From time to time, they would come in front of young master to flaunt their prowess and disgust others. Let's see how they can still be proud now. It was stolen in the first place, and yet they are still so shameless. Cough cough, cough cough, Gu Xiaoyang stopped complaining abruptly. Looking at Zhou Yanbai, who kept winking at him, he realized that he had said something wrong and hurriedly shut his mouth. Zhou Yanbai took the opportunity to change the topic. I heard from the people who keep an eye on Hu Qihan's family that Hu Qihan and his wife are even more dissatisfied with that woman because of this incident. Gu Xiaoyang knew that Zhou Yanbai was helping him to smooth things over, so he took the opportunity to say, isn't that so? What was Hu Xiaofeng thinking? He didn't want a virtuous wife like young madam and chose a wretch who has no family background, no talent, and is not even as pretty as young madam. He dragged her around every day to show off his intelligence. It's so funny. When Hu Chenhuan heard what he said, she only replied faintly, if he wasn't blind, how could I have picked him up? Chapter 277. If what you said last night got out, I'm afraid that Hu Qihan will come to trouble you and young madam. Hu Chenhuan narrowed his eyes dangerously. If he can still trouble me and Yan Yan, it means that he hasn't encountered much trouble yet. Zhou Yanbai's eyes darkened slightly. The land that Hu Qihan bought before is almost in trouble. But if this happens, I'm afraid that the Hu Corporation will also suffer a great loss. It doesn't matter. The Hu Corporation that Hu Qihan has been in charge of for so many years is no longer the Hu Corporation that my father left behind. Zhou Yanbai frowned and remained silent. With Hu Chenhuan's current assets, the small Hu Corporation was indeed not worthy of his attention. But in this case, why should he spend so much effort to get the whole corporation back? As if seeing Wei Yanbai's thoughts, Hu Chenhuan sneered. No matter what, the whole corporation was left behind by my father. They don't deserve it. Hu Chenhuan said and asked again, how is the investigation of the cause of my parents' death going? When they heard Hu Chenhuan's question, their expressions turned solemn and they said apologetically, it's been a long time since the incident happened. Most of the people involved have gone far away or passed away. It's a little slow to investigate. This answer was within Hu Chenhuan's expectations. He lowered his eyes and said, it's okay. You can continue to investigate. There will always be a result. If this matter had nothing to do with Hu Qihan and his wife, it would be fine. If it was really related, Hu Chenhuan's eyes were full of hostility. He subconsciously touched the ring on his finger. When he opened his eyes again, the terrible hostility had gradually dissipated. Downstairs, Su Yiyan was dragged by Ling Xiaoqi to the back garden of the manor and walked back and forth a few times. She was not so full anymore. Then, they sat side by side under the swing in the yard and chatted. The yard was surrounded by blue roses that Su Yiyan liked. Circles of lavender morning glories climbed on the pergola of the swing. It looked warm and beautiful, perfectly in line with the fairyland of the ancient castle and fairy tales. It's so beautiful here. Ling Xiaoqi praised while swinging the swing. I used to think that few rich men were not fickle. Now that I see you getting along with your husband, I realize that I was narrow-minded. There are good and bad people in every group. There are good people and bad people in the poor, and naturally, there are also bad people in the rich. The kind of rich men you're talking about are either playboys who live their lives and wait for death, or those who rely on women to start their careers but are arrogant and self-righteous. It does make sense for men to turn bad once they have money, but it's not absolute. It's just that under the bombardment of money and drunken riddles, fewer people can hold on. That's why girls still have to keep their eyes open. Don't look for a boyfriend in the garbage dump. If you're really unfortunate enough to meet one, you have to know how to withdraw in time to stop your losses, lest you sink deeper and deeper. Ling Xiaoqi listened to her words and was silent for a long time. She couldn't help but laugh and say, "Oh, you have become a relationship consultant after getting married. You have a lot of reasons. It's a pity that many things in this world are easier said than done, just like your husband. What you're saying now makes sense. If he really changes in the future, you may not be willing to let go." "That's impossible." "What?" "Even if he changes, he will only love me more and more. It's impossible for the kind of thing you're worried about to happen." Chapter 278. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed with a trace of craftiness as he chuckled. "Men become bad when they have money. Then why don't we make them poor? Your man owns such a large manor under his name. How can he be poor? Who said that this manor is his?" Ling Xiaoqi blinked. Then, as if she had thought of something, her eyes suddenly widened. "It's not his. Could it be that he rented it?" "That's right. Buying an island and a manor for a wedding is too extravagant. In fact, renting this place to hold such a dream wedding for you is already very considerate. What are you thinking? This island is not rented." "Not rented? Then just now you..." "This island was indeed his before, but..." Su Yiyan raised his chin, looking proud as if he was showing off his favorite toy to a good friend. "It's mine now." "Yours?" Ling Xiaoqi almost turned into a screaming chicken. "That's right. When he proposed to me, he gave this to me. Not only here, he also gave me a lot of movable and immovable property as betrothal gifts. My parents didn't accept them and transferred them to me as my dowry." After speaking for a long time, Su Yiyan didn't hear any movement from Ling Xiaoqi's side. He turned his head and saw Ling Xiaoqi's sparkling little eyes. Dear, do you still need a leg accessory? Su Yiyan refused. You're too heavy. I can't walk if I hang it on me. I don't want you. Ling Xiaoqi clutched her chest, looking as if she had suffered a violent blow. It's true that you don't want your old love when you have a new one. When you liked me, you made all kinds of vows and sweet nothings. You even wanted to pick the stars and the moon for me. Now that you've met someone better, I, the white moonlight, have become yesterday's flower. It's too sad. Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly, but his face still looked cold and indifferent. Give up. I've already found my true love. It's impossible between us. However, if you're willing, you can let our pups replace us to make up for this regret. Ling Xiaoqi's face changed slightly. She stopped pretending to cry and said with arms akimbo, well, not only are you a scumbag, you even dare to covet my Hua. Aren't you doing this because I love you? You're going too far. Give up. I'll never agree to this marriage. Fortunately, the two cubs ran out to play after eating. Otherwise, if Dun, that kind of licking dog, really heard the conversation between these two masters of drama, it might really believe it and lay on the ground to make a scene and act shamelessly. TSK. Su Yiyan sighed, looking like an old mother who was worried sick about her child. That's not right. Our Dun is a good boy. He looked honest and was loyal to Hua. It was just that Chi Hua was not by his side, and he had never thought of looking for another dog. What an infatuated and loyal dog. Now he has a handsome and rich dog for a father. His value has skyrocketed. He can be considered a noble among dogs. He's the prettiest pup in the Corgi family. You and your Hua are a perfect match. There's nothing more perfect than that. Ling Xiaoqi listened to Su Yiyan's shameless boasting and almost couldn't hold back her laughter. No matter how good he is, it's useless if my Hua doesn't like him. Just as she finished speaking, there was a sudden high-pitched barking and a woman's ear-piercing scream outside the door. Chapter 279. When Su Yiyan and Dun ran out of the backyard, they saw Hua's fur bristling as it bared its fangs at the two people in front of it. Dun was barking at them from the side. The funniest thing was that Mrs. Hua, who was proud of herself outside, was now weak in the knees. She screamed and grabbed her husband's pants. She used so much strength that she almost pulled Hua Qihan's pants off. Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows and felt that this scene was very familiar. Hua Qihan's face was livid. His aggressive manner when he came had long faded away, leaving only a belly full of anger. He tried to pull up his pants and gnashed his teeth, wanting to kick the two dogs. Su Yiyan's eyes turned cold and her face darkened. Fortunately, Mrs. Hua was holding them back. Hua Qihan's kick did not hurt the two little guys at all. Instead, he staggered and almost fell. Uncle Zhang, who had been smiling and pretending to coax the two dogs to leave, saw this scene and his face darkened. He said coldly, President Hua, this dog is young madam's favorite pet. If you hurt it, I'm afraid it will be difficult to explain to young madam. The term President Hua and the intimate young madam formed a sharp contrast. It also fully showed Uncle Zhang's intimate attitude toward the two. Hua Qihan had always been sensitive to this kind of differential treatment. His face immediately darkened and he laughed angrily. Explain. What do I need to explain to her? It's just a beast. Let alone injuring it, even if I kick it to death today, what can she do to me? Uncle Zhang's face was cold and he did not comment. He had once doted on this young master, but it was a pity that this young master was an ingrate who could not be nurtured properly. Back then, Madam and old master doted on him and gave him everything. As soon as the two of them passed away, he could not wait to reveal his true colors. Not only did he want to monopolize all the property of the family Hua, but he also wanted to drive the young master out of the family Hua. Fortunately, old master had left a will and left some real estate to the young master. Otherwise, such an unfilial, heartless, and heartless scum had long made these old people, who had been in the family Hua for a long time, bitterly disappointed. Naturally, their attitude towards him was not any better. However, Hua Qihan had no self-awareness at all. He still felt that these people owed him for offending their superiors. Who says I can't do anything to you? On the second day of their wedding, Su Yiyan originally did not intend to come forward and argue with these troublesome things. When she heard Hua Qihan's words, she sneered and walked out. She held the two dogs in her arms. Poor Zai Zai, you're being bullied by these outsiders in your own home. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Master is here. Dun Dun was still barking, vowing to be a proud dog that Hua Hua could rely on. As soon as it heard its master's words, it immediately softened and cried out pitifully. In an instant, it changed from dog Ao Yen to dog Jiao Jiao. Hua Hua glanced at it with disdain, its face saying, "How did I get to know such an embarrassing dog like you?" Chapter 280. Su Yiyan was already angry at this idiot who wanted to kill her dog. When she heard his arrogant words, she almost stepped forward and kicked him. At this time, Uncle Zhang was still worried that she would be at a disadvantage, so he explained, "Young madam, it's like this. Dun Dun and Hua Hua were playing in the front yard when President Hua and Mrs. Hua suddenly came to visit. As soon as they saw Dun Dun, they suddenly rushed up and kicked it. Hua Hua happened to see this scene, so it bit Mrs. Hua. Hua Hua, who had been slightly raising its chin and disdainful of what was happening in front of it, heard Uncle Zhang's explanation and hit Dun Dun with the back of its hand. It was not clear whether it was dissatisfied with how useless it was or depressed that it made such a fool of itself. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard. Su Yiyan's expression changed when she heard Uncle Zhang's words. She picked up Dun Dun and said anxiously, "You were kicked. Where were you kicked? Let me take a look." Dun Dun was turned around by its owner and thought that its owner was playing with it. It immediately cooperated and pretended to be weak and collapsed into its owner's arms. Little did it know that Su Yiyan was scared half to death because of its actions. "Dun Dun, what's wrong with you? Don't be afraid, Master will take you to see a doctor. It's okay, it's okay." As she said that, she picked up Dun Dun and scolded Hua Qihan with a dark face. "What kind of dog is this? You're Chenhuan's big brother and the head of family Hua. Why don't you take a look and see if you're worthy? It's fine if my Dun Dun is fine today, but if something really happens to him because of your kick, believe it or not, I'll buy a bunch of mad dogs and send them to your house tomorrow. They'll bite you, your wife, and your dog's son to death." Su Yiyan's little mouth was like a machine gun, spitting out words one after another. Hua Qihan's face turned green and he was so angry that he almost died on the spot. Uncle Zhang did not expect her to suddenly explode. It took him a while to react. He held back his laughter and said, "Young madam, I was too careless with my words just now and caused you to misunderstand. Although President Hua wanted to kick the dog, he wasn't as agile as a young man, so he only narrowly missed it." Su Yiyan, who was rushing out, stopped abruptly and lowered his head to look at Dun Dun. "Are you all right?" Dun Dun looked back at her innocently, trying to get away with it. Su Yiyan was silent for a few seconds before he tried to salvage the situation. Even if he wasn't really hit, he must have been scared to death. "Our family's Dun Dun is still a baby. Which heartless bastard had the heart to do such a thing to it? You too, I just told you not to bite these dirty things at noon, but you didn't listen. What if you have diarrhea?" Dun Dun whimpered, feeling wronged. Hua Qihan had thought that Su Yiyan would ignore him after learning that she did not kick the B*** dog. Who would have thought that after waiting for such a long time, all he got was a few words? He almost vomited blood. You're full of filthy words and distorting the truth. It was clearly your dog that bit my wife, but now you're blaming us and talking to us like this. Is this the upbringing of the Su family? Su Yiyen's face darkened and she sneered. If you hadn't kicked my dog, would they have bitten you? You came to my house to kick my dog. Don't talk about being bitten in the leg. Even if you were bitten to death, don't you deserve it? Su Yiyen said, ignoring how ugly Hua Qihan's expression was. She turned to Uncle Zhang and said, Uncle Zhang, check the planet's laws on the heaviest punishment for trespassing and what rights the owner has to deal with trespassing. Chapter 281. Hua Qihan's face darkened even more. How dare you? Su Yiyen chuckled. Why wouldn't I dare? Let's not talk about whether Qinhuan recognizes you as his elder brother. Even if he does, I'm not related to you by blood. I won't show you any mercy. Don't try to use family as an excuse. Don't you know? Qinhuan transferred this island to me before we got married. Now, this island and this manor are all mine. You came to the island without the owner's permission, broke into my manor, and hurt my dog. If I call someone to arrest you now, how many days do you think you and your wife will be detained? Hua Qihan's face turned pale. He didn't expect Su Yiyen to behave like this after marrying Hua Qinhuan. Before this, when she met with these elders, she had clearly behaved very politely and gracefully, knowing when to advance and when to retreat. Even when she broke off her engagement with Hua Xiaofeng and was about to be engaged to Hua Qinhuan, she had only said a few words to them. She had never behaved like this. Hua Qihan had obviously forgotten that Su Yiyen had respected them when she met them before because Mrs. Hua was an old friend of Qing Shuqin. She had respected them because of Qing Shuqin. Now that the two families had turned against each other, they still wanted to use their status as elders to suppress her. They didn't deserve it. Su Yiyen glanced at the two of them coldly and sneered. Uncle Zhang, tell them, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner, how will they be punished? Young madam, according to the rules, if they break into a private house and have a conflict with the owner's family can take certain measures against the intruder. Whether they kill or maim the intruder, it's considered self-defense and irresponsibility. On the contrary, if the owner is injured because of this, they can ask the intruder to pay some compensation. Did you hear that? Do you want to leave on your own, or do you want me to drive you away? If it's the former, seeing that you're old, I'll just ask you for some compensation for the mental damage my family's done and Hua suffered. If it's the latter, it won't be as simple as compensation. Just as Su Yiyen's voice fell, several servants ran out of the house. Looking at their postures, they really weren't joking. They were just waiting for Su Yiyen's order to throw them out to the sea to feed the fish. Are you threatening me? Hua Qihan also panicked. He didn't expect Su Yiyen to be so lawless and unconventional. He couldn't care less and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Where's Hua Qinhuan? Tell Hua Qinhuan to come out." Su Yiyen was also angry when she heard Hua Qihan calling for them. Hua Qihan and his wife had rushed over so anxiously on the second day of their wedding. They were clearly here to pick a fight. She had planned to send these two people away while Hua Qinhuan was still upstairs talking with Gu Xiaoyang and the others. Unexpectedly, these two people started to howl. Look at you, why are you shouting so loudly? I've already told you that I'm the owner of this manor on this island. Why are you still shouting and yelling when you've broken into my place? You guys, help me. Since they don't want to leave, send them away. Several servants subconsciously glanced at Uncle Zhang when they heard this. When they saw Uncle Zhang nod, they wanted to go forward and grab them. Hua Qihan was so angry that he subconsciously took a step back. When a servant reached out, he said, well, a group of traitorous people. Try to touch me again and see what I'm going to do. If I don't see Hu Chenhuan today and get him to give me an explanation, no one can make me leave. Chapter 282. As soon as Hu Chihan finished speaking, a cold voice came from behind them. Everyone in the courtyard was stunned. They turned around and saw Hu Chenhuan being pushed out by Sui Yanbai. Why did you come out? Su Yiyan ran to Hu Chenhuan's side with Dun Dun in her arms. Her face was full of worry and anxiety. Hu Chenhuan patted Su Yiyan's hand comfortingly and asked in a low voice, "Is Dun Dun all right?" Su Yiyan was slightly stunned. She took the opportunity to complain. "He's not injured. He's just a little scared." Dun Dun immediately whimpered and looked exactly like a frightened and pitiful little thing. When Hu Chihan saw that Hu Chenhuan did not care about her brother and sister-in-law after coming out and instead asked about the dog's condition, he became even angrier. Could it be that in this useless person's eyes, her brother was not as important as a dog? Hu Chenhuan, are you just going to let this be *tch humiliate your brother and sister-in-law? Are you going to let her trample on the family Hu's face so unscrupulously? Hu Chenhuan's hand, which was stroking Dun Dun, paused. Her cold eyes stared straight at Hu Chihan with ridicule. Aren't you and your son the ones who trampled on the family Hu's face? What did you say? You brought a shady woman to cause a scene at the family Hu's wedding banquet before the engagement was annulled. You became the laughing stock of the upper class. After that, you followed that woman and did all kinds of shameless things, causing people to talk about you behind your back. It turns out that you still know how to protect the family Hu's face. I thought you had lost your face long ago. If you're here today to argue with me about the family Hu's face, then you can get lost. You're the last person in the world who has the right to say these things. Hu Chihan was startled by Hu Chenhuan's cold gaze that suddenly swept over him. For some reason, he suddenly felt a little guilty. However, he quickly reacted and pretended to be calm as he roared, "Impudent! Is this the attitude you should have towards your big brother?" Hu Chenhuan sneered and gave Uncle Zhang a look. Uncle Zhang understood and waved his hand to signal the servants to drive them out. Hu Chihan was so angry that he could not speak. It was Mrs. Hu, who had finally calmed down, who tried to smooth things over. "Chenhuan, what are you doing? No matter what, we're still a family. Is there a need to mobilize so many people? When there's trouble, we're family. When there's nothing going on, we'll just cut off all contact with each other. You've already said so much. Do you really think everyone is a sucker?" Su Yiyan's words were so hurtful that the smile on Mrs. Hu's face suddenly froze. After a while, she calmed down and said dryly, "Sister-in-law, you're joking." Su Yiyan's patience was worn out and she could not be bothered to argue with them anymore. "What exactly are you here for? Didn't you get married yesterday?" Xiaofeng brought his girlfriend and wanted to congratulate you. Before Mrs. Hu could finish speaking, Su Yiyan interrupted her. "If I remember correctly, we didn't send an invitation to your family for our wedding." Both of them were well aware of this matter, but when the family Hu was mentioned so bluntly, the couple's faces still turned a little ugly. "Although we didn't have an invitation, we're still a family. Everyone in our family came to attend your wedding. In the eyes of outsiders, who knows how much gossip will spread." Chapter 283. I see. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and chuckled. "I was going to say that Hu Xiaofeng and I were once engaged. Now that I'm his elder, he has to call me aunt whenever he sees me. There are so many people coming and going at the wedding. If someone hears this, won't he be laughed at on the spot? Young people are arrogant. Maybe he thinks that I sent him an invitation to deliberately humiliate him. I didn't expect him to be much more thick-skinned than I thought. I didn't ask him to come, but he rushed over himself." In just a few words, she threw Mrs. Hu's praise back at her. At the same time, she also ridiculed Hua Xiaofeng for being shameless. They didn't even send them an invitation. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that they didn't want to see them on this festive day. Not only did they rush over themselves, but they also brought their mistress. Weren't they trying to disgust Su Yiyan? Mrs. Hua's expression stiffened when she heard this. Your wedding is such a big event. How could no one come? Qihan and I have been busy these days, so we asked Xiaofeng to come. Su Yiyan looked at her with a half smile and didn't comment. Mrs. Hua almost choked under her stare. After a few seconds of silence, she continued, but I heard that something happened to Xiaofeng as soon as he landed on the island last night. He was knocked off the boat. Oh, I know about this. I also heard that the person who hit him, you don't need to hear about it. The person who hit them and sent them to the hospital was my aunt. Hua Qihan and his wife didn't expect Su Yiyan to admit it so easily. They stared at Su Yiyan for a while before saying, Your aunt. How can your aunt be so overboard? My son came to congratulate you with good intentions. It's fine if you don't welcome him, but how can you hit him? Good intentions. If they had good intentions, there wouldn't be any evil people in this world. Ling Xiaoqi, who had been standing in the background, suddenly sighed. So you know that Yan Yan doesn't welcome you. Hua Qihan's face turned blue. He pointed at Ling Xiaoqi and scolded, Who are you? How dare an outsider like you comment on our family Hua's affairs? If you dare to do it, don't be afraid of others talking about it. Su Yiyan was furious when she saw Hua Qihan yelling at Ling Xiaoqi. Why are you yelling so loudly? Wasn't he still alive? Those who didn't know better would think that your son had died and no one was there to send him off. What are you talking about? Common language. Su Yiyan glanced at their indignant faces and said sarcastically, Didn't you just say that you're a family? I'm his aunt, his elder, and my aunt is his elder. It's perfectly justified for an elder to teach a junior a lesson. Even so, you can't what? Do you really think that you don't know anything about the dirty things your son did back then if we don't mention it? My aunt has doted on me since I was a child. She happily came back to attend my wedding. As soon as she arrived on the island, she met two disgusting things. She taught them a lesson as an elder and taught them to respect their elders. What's wrong with that? Chapter 284. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, the two of them were so angry that they almost fell back. What did she mean by taking a detour when she saw their family members in the future? Was she going to beat him up every time she saw him? Arrogant, she was too arrogant. Su Yiyan only felt happy to see them like this. When Hua Xiaofeng's incident came out, this family was disgusting, especially the two people in front of her who always used their status as elders to suppress her. They wanted her to forgive Hua Xiaofeng for what he had done. She played it down as if what Hua Xiaofeng had done was just a trivial matter. She shouldn't care about it, or else she would be ungenerous. Now, she was the same generation as the two people in front of her. She was Hua Xiaofeng's elder, and her elder was the elder of Hua Xiaofeng's elder. Any one of them could use the name of being arrogant and disrespectful to elders to suppress her. It was hard to say who would be the most disgusting in the future. Su Yiyan aroused Hua Qihan's anger. He turned his head and shouted at Hua Qinhuan, control this *tch. I think my wife is right, Anne. Hua Qinhuan's eyes were slightly sharp. She is not a *tch. If you don't want your tongue, I can help you remove it. Hua Qihan choked. Do you really want to fall out with me because of this woman? The woman you're talking about is my wife. As for you. Hua Qinhuan's eyes were full of mockery. Instead of pestering me about falling out with you, it's better to go back and think about how to make up for the whole group's deficit during this period of time. Otherwise, the only thing you can rely on will change in a few months. Hua Qihan's face turned pale when he heard this. He looked at Hua Qinhuan with a bit more vigilance and hatred. My parents made a will that year and handed the whole group to me. Hua Qinhuan didn't comment. She only said ambiguously, the Hua family's surname is Hua. It used to be, it is, and it will be in the future. Hua Qihan's heart trembled violently, and he looked at Hua Qinhuan with even more trepidation. He did not even dare to look her in the eye. Hua Qinhuan saw the change in Hua Qihan's expression and her eyes darkened slightly. Nothing much. I'm just sending President Hua and his wife off. It's the second day of our wedding. My wife and I don't want to be disturbed. Once Hua Qinhuan said this, there was basically no room for negotiation. Mrs. Hua tugged at Hua Qihan's sleeve, wanting him to help say something. However, at this moment, Hua Qihan's mind was already in a mess because of Hua Qinhuan's words. How could he care about seeking an explanation for his son? Don't touch me. I'll walk by myself. Qihan. Hua Qihan had already left. Even if Mrs. Hua was unwilling, she had to follow him. Su Yiyan saw this and snorted coldly. She said to the several security guards outside the door, you guys should be more vigilant in the future. Don't bring anything worse than pigs and dogs into the house. Dundan's small ears twitched, and it barked twice unhappily. Su Yiyan instantly understood. Okay. I was wrong. I shouldn't have compared this trash with you. Dun was satisfied. It barked a few times in the direction of the two people arrogantly to express its disdain for them. Mrs. Hua hadn't gone far. When she heard Su Yiyan's words, she was so angry that she turned around and was about to walk back. Just as she was about to take the first step, she was blocked by the tall security guards. She was stunned. In the end, she didn't dare to confront them head-on. She walked away with an ashen face. Chapter 285. It was rare for Hua Qinhuan to be so angry, and the atmosphere instantly froze. In the end, Uncle Zhang was the first to break the silence. The news from the ferry said that two people somehow sneaked into the fleet and ran in while they were sending Mr. Yu off the island. Su Yiyan looked surprised. So coincidental? Of course not. I'm afraid they have been waiting there for a long time. Su Yiyan nodded understandingly. What about Yu Zian? Did he successfully get off the island? Or... After that, Mr. Yu was successfully sent off the island to be bandaged, but what? But when the two people rushed in, the scene was a little chaotic. Mr. Yu was already injured somewhere, and after being pushed down, his injuries worsened. I'm afraid he suffered some physical pain. Pfft. As soon as Uncle Zhang finished speaking, Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyan burst out laughing. Su Yiyan. She had to admit that it was really tragic. Hua Qinhuan listened to the ins and outs of the matter and looked a little better. She held Su Yiyan's hand and said apologetically, it's my fault for not arranging it properly. There won't be a next time. I'm fine. Su Yiyan patted Hua Qinhuan's hand comfortingly. Then, she seemed to think of something and turned to Ling Xiaoqi. I'm sorry you had to see this. Ling Xiaoqi chuckled and didn't care much. It's okay. Not everyone gets to see the real-life version of a fight between rich and powerful families. You have to say, it was quite exciting. It's just that the difference between their ranks was too big. They were scared away with just a few words. I thought they would cry, make a scene, and threaten to hang themselves before it was over. Now it seems that I overestimated them. Zhuo Yanbai and the others looked at Ling Xiaoqi's shining eyes and her face filled with indescribable regret. The corners of their mouths twitched slightly, and they secretly sighed in their hearts. A person who can be young Madame's best friend is indeed not an ordinary person. Her mental fortitude is not ordinary, but her focus is a little off. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that she was indeed unaffected. Then, he turned his gaze to Hua Hua and chuckled. I never thought that Hua Hua would stand up for our Dun Dun. From the looks of it, your Hua Hua isn't completely uninterested in our Dun Dun. In fact, it was not difficult to understand Hua Hua's thoughts. The two dogs were childhood sweethearts who had been in contact with each other since they were young. Hua Hua was cold and aloof. She usually ignored Dun Dun, but in her heart, she had long regarded it as her own dog. If one really looked into it, it was some kind of my dog can only be bullied by me. If anyone else dares to touch it, see if I won't beat them to death, complex. Thinking of this, Su Yiyan's gaze suddenly became complicated as he looked at his own crossdresser. If Hua Hua was a bossy boss, what was her dog? A bossy boss's little wife. Dun, bossy boss's little wife Dun. Ling Xiaoqi obviously saw this point as well. She reached out and patted Hua Hua's head with a look of disappointment. Good for you. Hua Hua nestled in Ling Xiaoqi's arms and looked straight ahead like an emotionless king. It didn't even look at her. Ling Xiaoqi was angry and amused at the same time. She even suspected that this little ingrate had teamed up with Su Yiyan to deliberately set her up. Hua Qinhuan listened to the conversation between the two and was a little curious. What are you talking about? Chapter 286. When Hua Qinhuan heard what she said, he subconsciously glanced at the dog that he had been raising for more than a month. As the dog's father, he could see how much this little cub liked the dog called Hua Hua. Although he often despised the dog for being stupid and often acted dumb, it was still his own cub. As soon as we finished talking, we heard a noise outside. As soon as we came out, we found out that Hua Qihan had almost kicked Dun Dun and angered Hua Hua. Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows and quickly figured out the cause and effect. Following Su Yiyan's words, he asked knowingly, you mean, don't you think it's fun? He usually seems to be cold to you, but if you are really bullied, he will definitely be the first to stand up and help you fight back. Hua Qinhuan didn't think much of it and unconditionally agreed with his little wife. It's quite fun. Su Yiyan immediately smiled with a trace of slyness in her eyes. She leaned closer to Hua Qinhuan and said, isn't it like the old you? What? Isn't Hua Hua like the old you? Obviously, he cared more than anyone else, but on the surface, he always pretended to be unapproachable. He even deliberately pretended to be indifferent just to make the other party back off. But if he really did back off, he might be angry and sad in his heart. The only difference was that Hua Qinhuan cared too much about his own shortcomings and was unwilling to let the person he loved make do with him. Hua Hua probably really thought that Dun Dun was too stupid and was a little disgusted. Dun Dun, who had been attacked many times by his owner, his father, and even his future mother-in-law, was speechless. Stupid dogs had no dog rights these days, right? What was stupid about it? It was honest. Honest. Ahem. Ahem. Seeing that the young couple had begun to show affection again, the few people present decisively chose to escape. Gu Xiaoyang said, I have something to do in the afternoon, so I'll go back first. Zhua Yanbai said, there's no one at the company to look after it. I'll go first. Then I will also. Ling Xiaoqi was about to run away with Hua Hua in her arms, but Dun Dun couldn't bear to see his wife run away again. He jumped out of Su Yiyan's arms in a hurry. He hugged Ling Xiaoqi's leg and refused to let go. He looked like a rascal who said, if you want to leave, please take me with you. If you don't, I won't let you go. Hua Hua jumped down and raised its paw to hit Dun Dun, knocking it off Ling Xiaoqi's leg. Dun Dun wasn't sad. He got up and pounced on Hua Hua. Hua Hua dodged to the side and slapped its face with its paw, knocking it down. Everyone, ahem, since it wants to follow you, you can bring it to your house to stay for a few days. I'll pick it up in a few days when I'm free. When Dun Dun heard Su Yiyen's words, he didn't feel disappointed that he was about to leave home. Instead, he couldn't wait and barked a few more times. Su Yiyen. Fine, I don't want this little ingrate anymore. Whoever wants it can take it away. Ling Xiaoqi looked embarrassed. That's not a good idea, right? Dun Dun barked a few times in a hurry, fearing that he would be left behind. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. He said helplessly and angrily, "There's nothing wrong with it. I'll be relieved if it stays with you." Ling Xiaoqi. Is this a matter of whether or not you'll be relieved? This is a matter of whether or not I agree to this marriage. In the end, Ling Xiaoqi couldn't refuse the proposal of inviting a wolf into the house. She left with Dun Dun. Chapter 287. Although Hua Hua didn't object, she leaned close to Dun Dun from time to time and hit him on the head along the way. Dun Dun, who had been hit, was dumbfounded. Su Yiyen looked at the backs of the adult and the two children and didn't look away for a long time. Hua Qinhuan saw this and asked in a low voice, "You can't bear to see him leave?" Su Yiyen shook her head. "He's already stupid enough. If he continues to be hit like this, I'm afraid he'll be even more stupid when he comes back." Hua Qinhuan, haven't you thought about the possibility that he won't come back? Su Yiyen. That was heart-wrenching. After Ling Xiaoqi and the others left, the huge manor suddenly became a lot more empty and deserted. Su Yiyen pushed Hua Qinhuan upstairs and asked casually, "Xiaoyang and the others came to look for you at this time. Did something urgent happen at the company?" She thought about it and still felt that it was a little strange that the two of them came to look for her at this time. It was only the second day of their wedding. If there wasn't something particularly important, the two of them shouldn't have come to disturb her. Moreover, she was also a little concerned about what Hua Qinhuan had said to Hua Qihan just now. It's not a big deal. After saying this, he seemed to be worried that Su Yiyen wouldn't believe him, so he added, "They came just because they want to eat the food you cooked." "They want to eat the food I cooked? You were cooking downstairs early in the morning and it smelled so good. It's normal that they want to eat it." Su Yiyen blinked. She still didn't quite believe that these seemingly serious elites would be so easily attracted by her meal. "But how did they know that I was cooking at home?" "Of course there's an insider." "An insider?" Su Yiyen's mouth twitched slightly. Was it necessary to make it sound like a spy among spies when eating a meal? "Wait, you mean Xian?" "Yes." Su Yiyen silently lit a candle for Yu Xian in his heart. He had kindly informed his brothers to come over for a big meal, but in the end, those two people were not even willing to send him for an injection. What kind of plastic brotherhood was this? Seeing that Su Yiyen had stopped asking, Hua Qinhuan was silent for a moment and suddenly said, "Today, I've completely fallen out with Hua Qihan." Su Yiyen was slightly startled, and immediately apologized, "I'm sorry, it's all because of me and my family. I originally wanted to get someone to drive them away, but I didn't expect you to be involved." As soon as Hua Qinhuan heard her words, she knew that she had misunderstood. "I don't mean to blame you and my aunt. Even if it wasn't for you, there would be a day sooner or later. But if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have been able to." Before Su Yiyen could finish, she was interrupted by Hua Qinhuan. "Do you think they came to me because Auntie beat Hua Xiaofeng to the hospital? Isn't that the case? My sister-in-law came for Hua Xiaofeng, but Hua Qihan might not. If he didn't come for Hua Xiaofeng, then he..." Hua Qinhuan glanced at her and smiled faintly. "It's because of what I said to those women last night." "What you said to the Hua Corporation to terminate the cooperation with them." Su Yiyen was not stupid, and soon understood the key point. "He's worried that you will return to the Hua Corporation and take his position." "Yes." Hua Qinhuan nodded and asked tentatively, "If I say that I want to take back the Hua Corporation?" Su Yiyen's eyes lit up slightly. She walked around to Hu Chenhuan, squatted beside him, and looked at him eagerly. Really? Hu Chenhuan. Chapter 288. Don't you think I'm overestimating myself? My father made a will and left the whole corporation to Hu Chihan. Su Yiyan looked disapproving. That's because your father was too. Ahem, of course, I'm not speaking ill of our father. I just think that if he were still alive, he would definitely be angered by Hu Xiaofeng and Hu Chihan. He must have been bewitched by Hu Chihan, a sanctimonious hypocrite, when he handed over the company to Hu Chihan. Hu Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan for a while and finally burst out laughing. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? No, you're not wrong. Hu Chenhuan's eyes were curved, and a rare pure smile appeared on his cold face. He looked harmless and warm. Su Yiyan had seen him smile before, but she had never seen him smile so relaxedly. It was as if something that had always been pressing on him had suddenly disappeared at this moment. Are you dumbfounded? Su Yiyan seemed to wake up from a dream. She grabbed someone's hand that kept swaying in front of her and said angrily, No. Hu Chenhuan saw that she was really angry, so he didn't continue to tease her. He stopped while he was ahead and said, although Hu Chihan is an idiot, he has been in charge of the whole corporation for so many years. He must have some connections. I'm afraid it's not that simple to take back the whole corporation from him. It doesn't matter. I'll help you. The indifference in Hu Chenhuan's eyes was washed away by Su Yiyan's words. He reached out and touched Su Yiyan's face and said hoarsely, There are risks in everything. If I fail, I may lose everything. Su Yiyan was stunned. In her eyes, Hu Chenhuan was invincible even if he was sitting like this. However, she had forgotten that Hu Chenhuan, who had never put all her eggs in one basket because of her death, was also an ordinary person. She could cry, laugh, argue, and make a fuss. She could succeed and fail. Although Su Yiyan was very clear about how much wealth Hu Chenhuan had, she felt that the possibility of this happening was very small. It was comparable to Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping turning over a new leaf. However, since Hu Chenhuan had said so, she seriously considered this possibility. Her eyes lit up slightly. That's fine too. Are you all right? Su Yiyan nodded with a serious face. If you really have nothing, then I'll take care of you. Hu Chenhuan's pupils shrank. She was very surprised. You want to take care of me? Do you think I can't afford to raise you? Su Yiyan snorted coldly. Her face was unconvinced. Although our Su family isn't as rich as the family Hua, it's more than enough to take care of you. Moreover, I now have an entertainment company and a restaurant. Although the profits can't be compared to yours, it will definitely get better in the future. If that day really comes, I'll go out to earn money to support the family. You can stay at home and be as beautiful as a flower. I definitely won't let you go hungry. Hu Chenhuan was amused by her description. She lowered her head and touched her forehead. She smiled faintly and said, Does that mean that I'm earning money to support the family and you're being as beautiful as a flower? Su Yiyan blushed. She pretended to be calm and said, Isn't this obvious? Or do you think that I'm not good-looking and not worthy of the words as beautiful as a flower? In my heart, there's no one in the world who's more beautiful than you. Hu Chenhuan hurriedly recovered her dignity. She smiled faintly and said, It's just that after hearing what you said, I feel that I have to work harder in the future. After all, compared to being as beautiful as a flower, I prefer earning money to support you. Chapter 289. After his parents passed away, he thought that he would no longer have a home. But now, with the person in front of him, he had a home again. Earning money to support the family was equivalent to earning money to support Su Yiyan. There was nothing wrong with that. Su Yiyan blushed slightly and said with bright eyes, then you really have to work harder. It's not easy to support me. Okay. Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan were enjoying their lovey-dovey time together. On the other side, Hua Qihan's family was not so comfortable. Hua Qihan was frightened by Hua Qinhuan's casual words. His face was dark all the way and he did not say a word. Mrs. Hua wanted to break the silence, but she tried to pick a few words. Hua Qihan did not answer. In the end, he even complained that she was nagging and glared at her fiercely. Although Mrs. Hua was submissive at home, she had received a lot of attention over the years because of her identity as Mrs. Hua. After being snubbed, she was a little angry. Especially when she was still injured. Hua Qihan did not even say a word of comfort and treated her like this. She was a little angry. She immediately turned her back and did not talk to Hua Qihan again. For the rest of the journey, one of them was preoccupied and the other was resentful. They were as cold as two strangers. It was not easy to get off the boat. Hua Qihan called a car to go back to the company, leaving Mrs. Hua alone and asking her to go to the hospital. Mrs. Hua looked at the car that was driving away and her heart was full of anger. She went to the hospital alone, dressed her wound miserably, got vaccinated, and ran to her son's ward. However, she saw her son being intimate with the woman who had caused their family trouble. After being affectionate, she completely exploded. Wen Jingping did panic for a moment after being kicked into the water, but it was only for a moment. In her previous life, she had taken swimming lessons in college. Although she was not particularly proficient, she could at least paddle a little. Hua Xiaofeng, on the other hand, was a true landlubber. After being kicked down, he only knew how to struggle, but the more he struggled, the faster he sank. Wen Jingping looked at him and gritted her teeth. She tried her best to use her dog paddle to float up while trying to pull him. It was a pity that Hua Xiaofeng's weight was there, and his strength was great. The result of the tug was that both of them were exhausted and almost sank into the sea together. However, because of this, Hua Xiaofeng's attitude towards Wen Jingping changed drastically after he woke up. Hua Xiaofeng, who originally had some complaints and annoyance towards her because of the things she had caused during this period of time, now really regarded her as his savior and true love. He asked her about her well-being and was very considerate. Wen Jingping enjoyed the care of the rich young master and secretly rejoiced that she had made the right bet this time. Her deep affection, or rather, kindness, for risking her life to save Hua Xiaofeng was enough to make Hua Xiaofeng unswervingly loyal to her. It was also enough to make his family see her in a new light. In time, she would not have to worry about marrying into a rich family. Wen Jingping naturally thought that what she had done this time would help her smoothly make a good impression on Hua Xiaofeng's parents. However, she had never expected that this family would not be kind people. When Mrs. Hua arrived, Hua Xiaofeng had just peeled a big apple for Wen Jingping that Mrs. Hua had bought at a high price. The two of them shared the apple, and the entire room was filled with sticky pink bubbles. Mrs. Hua had just eaten a belly full of anger from her husband. When she saw this scene, she felt that it was indescribable. She immediately roared, "What are you doing?" Chapter 290. Wen Jingping and Hua Xiaofeng were shocked. They turned around and saw Mrs. Hua's face, which was as dark as the bottom of a pot. They were both surprised and confused. "Mom, you're back." As Hua Xiaofeng spoke, he glanced behind Mrs. Hua and frowned. "Why isn't Dad with you? Aren't you going to look for?" "Look for what? What's the point of looking for them?" Thinking about all the things that had happened to her today, Mrs. Hua was like a fire-breathing dragon. She wanted to scold everyone who came to her. "What did your dad and I tell you yesterday? Your uncle and Miss Sue are getting married. They didn't send us an invitation because they're narrow-minded and not generous. You should attend their wedding." Outsiders will only praise you for being steady and compromising. When you come back, your dad will let people spread the news and make it seem like you had no choice but to break off the engagement with the Su family. He can even blame Hua Chenhuan and the Su family. Mrs. Hua's tone suddenly became sharp. What happened in the end? What did you do? You actually brought this woman with you. Was your brain squashed by a door? Or did you drink too much water before you fell into the sea and became delirious? It was Hua Xiaofeng's first time seeing his mother so angry. He immediately felt a little guilty. Mom, I didn't what? Didn't you bring her with you? Do you dare say that you didn't want to cause trouble when you brought her to their wedding? Hua Xiaofeng choked. With a dark face, he avoided Mrs. Hua's probing gaze. How could Mrs. Hua not understand when she saw his expression? The anger on her face grew. Why are you so brainless? You're really going to piss me off. After all, he was her own child. Although she was angry, she was unwilling to admit that he was hopelessly stupid. She decisively pushed all the blame onto Wen Jingping. What kind of bewitching potion did this woman give you to make you do stupid things for her again and again, and let her use you as a tool? After Mrs. Hua finished shouting, she pointed the spearhead at Wen Jingping. It's you. It must be you. You begged Xiaofeng to bring you, didn't you? You shameless thing. When our Xiaofeng was about to marry into the Su family, you came out to seduce him. You caused him to lose the marriage alliance, and you still don't let him go. You're trying to harm him. How can you be so vicious? Wen Jingping's eyes widened. She never thought that the flames of war would inexplicably spread to her. She hurriedly tried to defend herself. Auntie, I didn't. Xiaofeng asked me to go with him. Wen Jingping did have the idea of letting Hua Xiaofeng bring her to the wedding. But before she could put this idea into action, Hua Xiaofeng held a grudge against Su Yiyan for beating him up. He insisted on dragging her to the wedding to humiliate Su Yiyan. This was exactly what Wen Jingping wanted, so she didn't refuse. But now, he was actually blaming her for all the crimes. Mrs. Hua didn't care how she defended herself. Once she decided on something, she wouldn't give her a chance to refute. Xiaofeng, you're pushing everything to Xiaofeng. Do you really think that with Xiaofeng around, I can't do anything to you? Mrs. Hua's face was red. She pointed at Wen Jingping condescendingly and said fiercely, I'll tell you clearly today. Our family Hua will never let a woman like you marry into our family. If you don't want to be an underground mistress, you can break up with Xiaofeng right now. As long as I'm alive, you can forget about being our family Hua's daughter-in-law. Chapter 291. As Mrs. Hua spoke, she turned her head to criticize her son. You too. Your father warned you last time, but you didn't take it seriously. Now, I'm warning you again. Break up with this woman quickly. Otherwise, I'll pretend that I don't have a son like you. After Mrs. Hua finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Xiaofeng's reaction and limped away in her high heels. Hua Xiaofeng was stunned for a few seconds before he finally reacted. He hurriedly chased after her. Mom! The mother and son left just like that, leaving Wen Jingping alone on the hospital bed. Her face turned green and white, and her eyes were filled with tears of humiliation. Why? Why did she have to be humiliated like this by this old woman after doing so much? To put it bluntly, wasn't she looking down on her? It clearly wasn't her fault. It clearly had nothing to do with her, but she blamed her for everything. She wanted to pin everything on her head. B*tch, B*tch, they were all B* cheese. One day, she would definitely make this old woman kneel down and beg her. She would beg her like a dog. Wen Jingping's face was slightly distorted, and her eyes were filled with resentment and hatred. Su Yiyan had no idea what was happening in the hospital. She was busy preparing for Hua Qinhuan's first acupuncture treatment. Are you really not afraid of needles? Recalling Hua Qinhuan's behavior during the video call, Su Yiyan was still worried and confirmed it again. Hua Qinhuan wanted to say that she wasn't afraid, but when the words reached her mouth, she suddenly remembered Su Yiyan's previous description and silently swallowed them back down. The two of them looked at each other without saying a word. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Ahem, it's fine. My needles look scary, but they don't hurt. Take a look first. If you're really afraid, we'll think of another way, Su Yiyan said as she took out the needle. Hua Qinhuan's calm expression cracked a little when she saw the needle that was half the length of her palm being taken out. Su Yiyan had been paying attention to the changes in his expression. Seeing this, he asked tentatively, how about I do it myself first? If you can accept it, I'll do it for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Hua Qinhuan's hand pressed down on Su Yiyan's. No need. I don't need to stab you. Just stab me. Su Yiyan was very touched. However, if Hua Qinhuan did not say those words in such a fearless manner, she would be even more touched. Don't worry. I've done it for others before. I won't make a mistake like the first time. Leave it to me. Hua Qinhuan. Now that you mention it, I'm even more worried. No matter what, Hua Qinhuan would never let the needle stab Su Yiyan's body. He could only reluctantly sacrifice himself and let it stab him. The acupuncture treatment for lower body paralysis mainly used Yanglingquan, Zusanli, Xuanzhong, Huantiao, Yongquan, Sanyinjiu, and other acupoints. Most of these acupoints were on the legs. Only Huantiao's position was a little awkward. Su Yiyan's face couldn't help but redden a little before he started the acupuncture. He took a deep breath and said, You, take off your pants first. Outside the door, Uncle Zhang, who was walking around leisurely after dinner, was shocked. Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows and said with a faint smile, Are you sure? Su Yiyan's face was so red that it was about to explode. He glared at the person in front of him and said, What's there to be sure about? Take off your pants so that you can insert the needle. The heating in the room is so strong. Are you afraid of catching a cold? Hua Qinhuan's eyes darkened slightly. He asked knowingly, Do you only take off your outer clothes or everything? Chapter 292. Fully off. Light. Su Yiyan almost suffocated on the spot. Just taking off the outside was already very restricted. If she continued to take it off, wouldn't it be unsuitable for children? No need. Just take off the outside. Take off the outside. Oh, Hua Qinhuan replied in a low voice and said, I can't move easily. Help me. Su Yiyan. Move easily, my ass. Last night, who was the one who refused to let her touch him? It's only been a day, and she's already letting herself go. Although Su Yiyan complained, she still went forward and took off Hua Qinhuan's pants. Her legs, which had not been moved for many years, were different from ordinary people's legs. They were unhealthily pale, and more or less shrunken. They were really not good-looking. Su Yiyan subconsciously reached out to touch them and asked in a hoarse voice, Does it hurt? The light in Hua Qinhuan's eyes dimmed little by little. His lips curled up slightly, and he reached out to touch her head. It's okay. I didn't feel it when I woke up. It didn't hurt for long. It was a simple sentence, but it revealed a sense of helpless desolation and despair. Su Yiyan felt sad. She calmed herself down and took out a needle. Just as she was about to pierce it, she found that the person in front of her was tense. Nervous. A little. Just a little. Su Yiyan chuckled and reached out to pat his hand. Relax. I can't even pierce the needle into you like this. Hua Qinhuan glanced at the needle in Su Yiyan's hand, and then at her own legs. It's okay. It won't affect me. Su Yiyan. But you're making me feel like I'm harming you, not saving you. Su Yiyan pursed her lips and suddenly shouted, Qinhuan, yes. Lower your head. Hua Qinhuan subconsciously did as she was told. Then, she saw Su Yiyan's face magnified in front of her, and her lips were kissed. Hua Qinhuan subconsciously tightened her grip on the armrest. After the initial shock, she gradually relaxed. Just as he was about to turn the tables, Su Yiyan quickly retreated. Following that, she exclaimed in joy, it's in. Hua Qinhuan abruptly lowered her head and discovered that a needle had been inserted into her calf at some point in time. The end of the needle was still trembling slightly. Su Yiyan did not notice Hua Qinhuan's abnormality at all. After making sure that the needle was in the right place, she asked with concern, does it hurt? I didn't feel anything. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. I just need a few more needles. Hua Qinhuan, as it turned out, it was much easier after the first needle. Su Yiyan began to concentrate on the acupuncture after inserting the needles into several acupoints. Su Yiyan, who had entered the state of mind, was completely different from her previous frivolous appearance. She was focused, serious, and even a little serious and cautious. Hua Qinhuan looked at her side profile and unconsciously fell into a trance. Until, Su Yiyan inserted the needles for a while. Hua Qinhuan's originally steady breathing suddenly stagnated in her ear. She even heard the other party gasp. Su Yiyan paused and asked, what's wrong? Do you feel anything? Just now, I suddenly felt a little sore. Besides this, do you feel anything else? Hua Qinhuan carefully felt and said, it seems that it's still a little numb. Su Yiyan's tense face gradually softened. Do you feel uncomfortable? No, it's just a little strange. This was the first time he felt the sensation in his lower body since the car accident. Chapter 293. Hua Qinhuan was a little absent-minded, and there was an indescribably complicated feeling. For a moment, he even thought that he was hallucinating. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was very excited. Her eyes were slightly red as she said, it's like this at the beginning, and it may hurt a little later. This is inevitable. It means that your nerves are recovering bit by bit. The more pain it is, the better it will be. It's okay. I'm not afraid of pain. Su Yiyan was skeptical. How could a person who was afraid of needles not be afraid of pain? Hua Qinhuan did not know that his unyielding and omnipotent image in Su Yiyan's heart had been completely destroyed because of this needle. After Su Yiyan finished the needles, she helped Hua Qinhuan do moxibustion, and then massage. The so-called massage was, of course, not just a casual push. It needed to be like acupuncture, and there were also pressing, rubbing, wiping, and other methods. Different diseases and different acupuncture points required different massage methods. For Hua Qinhuan's disease, she first massaged the glabella, baihui, fengfu, and other acupuncture points, then moved down to the jianjing, jianhua, qiuqi, and other acupuncture points, and finally some acupuncture points on the back and lower limbs. From top to bottom, it could be said that he had done a thorough full-body massage. When it was over, Su Yiyan was already unbearably tired. Hua Qinhuan had already fallen asleep under the moderate pressure and the soothing incense in the room. Su Yiyan sat on the floor at the head of the bed. While resting, her eyes were fixed on the side of the person on the bed. After a long time, she leaned over and kissed him. It's been hard on you, but it's all worth it. I promise. When Hua Qinhuan woke up the next day, Su Yiyan had already gone downstairs to prepare breakfast before him. He had no recollection of what happened in the second half of the treatment. He only vaguely remembered that Su Yiyan seemed to be giving him a massage when he fell asleep. After waking up, not only did he feel much better, but even his heavy body seemed to have become much lighter. Ahem. As soon as Hu Chenhuan came downstairs, Uncle Zhang slowly floated in front of him and took the initiative to greet him. "Good morning, young master." "Good morning." Hu Chenhuan nodded. Just as he was about to go around him to find Su Yiyan, he saw Uncle Zhang following him with an expression of hesitation. Hu Chenhuan frowned slightly. "What's the matter?" Uncle Zhang's expression, he said, "Young master, I can understand that you and young madam are, you two newlyweds, it's inevitable, it's hard for you to part ways." Hu Chenhuan took a few seconds to understand the meaning of Uncle Zhang's words, and the expression on his face suddenly became subtle. Until now, only Zui Yanbai and Su Yiyan, who had accompanied him to the hospital, knew about his impotence. The others either had some guesses or were really not clear about it. He didn't even tell Yu Zian and the others. The reason he hid it from Uncle Zhang was that he didn't want Uncle Zhang, who had watched him grow up and was also the only elder in the family who sincerely treated him well, to be sad and even blame himself for this matter. He didn't expect that because of his concealment, it would cause such a big misunderstanding. Uncle Zhang had probably heard all the noise they made in the room over the past 2 days and mistakenly thought that the two of them. Chapter 294. Hu Chenhuan's face showed a rare trace of embarrassment when a young person was caught doing something bad. Before he had time to explain, Su Yiyan had already heard the two of them. She poked her head out of the kitchen and asked in confusion, "What are you talking about?" "Nothing." Hu Chenhuan spoke before Uncle Zhang could. "We're talking about what delicious food you made this morning. I made some glutinous rice porridge and a few side dishes. You're in a special situation recently, so you should eat more bland food." When Hu Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, alarm bells went off in his heart. As expected, he turned his head and met Uncle Zhang's gratified and loving eyes. Hu Chenhuan. Fine, now they couldn't clear their names even if they jumped into the Yellow River. Su Yiyan didn't notice the undercurrent between the two of them. After speaking, she retreated to the small kitchen and wanted to prepare the porridge and dishes as soon as possible. As soon as she left, Hu Chenhuan was slightly relieved. He braced himself to take the blame. "I'll be careful." Uncle Zhang's expression became more and more amiable. The young master was indeed the obedient and sensible young master who knew how to care for the people around him. With the young madam around, whether it was the young master or the family everything would develop in a good direction in the future. "I have to go to the store today to see if you want to go back to the old house or, I'll go back to the old house and wait for you." "Okay, then I'll go back after I'm done with work. I'll ask someone to send the medicinal cuisine to you at noon. Remember to eat it." After saying that, Su Yiyan was still a little worried and tried to find an ally for herself. "Uncle Zhang, the food I asked someone to send back is good for Chenhuan's health. Help me keep an eye on him and make sure he finishes it." Uncle Zhang smiled and replied, "Don't worry, young madam. I'll make sure the young master finishes the food. If he doesn't eat, I'll call you." "Okay, if he doesn't eat, just tell me. I'll talk to him." Hu Chenhuan smiled warmly as she watched the two of them getting along well. "It's only been 2 days, and Uncle Zhang is already on your side." Su Yiyan was like a victorious rooster. He raised his chin high and said proudly, "What can I do? Who asked me to be born so lovable, and flowers blossom when they see me?" Hu Chenhuan just smiled and didn't say anything. She just watched her play quietly. After breakfast, Su Yiyan left the island and went to the dining hall. Su Yiyan brought a part of the big pot of braised ingredients that he had cooked the day before, and asked Uncle Zhang to bring the rest back to the old house. In addition to the braising ingredients, Su Yiyan had also asked people to find some big red flowers to dye the red eggs that they had promised to send. She learned that Su Yiyan was going to dye the eggs with fresh flowers and give them to the customers as wedding gifts. The staff in the restaurant also came to watch one by one, hoping that they could be the first to eat the red eggs and get the blessing of the newlyweds. Therefore, when the red eggs were taken out, these people swarmed over, for fear that they would be one step behind others. Su Yiyan also taught a few people in the kitchen how to make sugar-coated haws and asked them to make a batch as today's small gifts. Of course, whether it was the red eggs or sugar-coated haws, the gifts were limited to today. If they wanted to eat more later, they could also send them, but they had to spend a certain amount in the restaurant. After a 3-day break, the dining hall opened again. Unsurprisingly, it was full again. Some of the customers who had been waiting for a long time came to eat and treat after hearing the descriptions of the previous customers, and some simply came for the red eggs that Su Yiyan mentioned in the live broadcast before. Chapter 295. Is this a red egg? It looks so beautiful. Before I came here, I thought red eggs were bright red. Now it looks a little pink and a little purple. The customers in the restaurant were very curious about the red egg. After receiving the red egg, they wanted to crack it open to see what was the difference between the egg inside and ordinary eggs. The result was obvious. Not only was her hand dyed red by the egg, but she also dyed the egg white inside the boiled egg. A few customers were frightened by this sudden situation and asked uncertainly, "Is this still edible?" "Yes, our red eggs are dyed with the juice of fresh flowers. They are non-toxic and harmless. The color of fresh flowers is so fresh." The girl who loved flowers put the dyed egg under her nose and smelled it. Indeed, she smelled a faint fragrance of flowers. The boiled eggs tasted pretty much the same. There was basically not much difference. However, after being dyed, for these people who had never eaten a red egg before, they felt that this egg was not just food. They ate it more seriously and with a little satisfaction of being blessed. After the first batch of red eggs was distributed, the medicinal cuisine was served one after another. Along with the medicinal cuisine, there was a big round and bright red sugar-coated haw. This is again. The store manager said this is sugar-coated haw. It is also a limited gift today. It is a gift for all the customers here. I wish you all a prosperous future. Sugar-coated haw. The customer turned the sugar-coated haw in his hand with curiosity. This thing is made with hawthorn. It can stimulate the appetite and help digestion. However, pregnant women should not eat too much of it, especially those who are pregnant and are not stable yet. When the waiter said that, the pregnant women present did not feel offended. Instead, they felt that this restaurant was more considerate and cautious. It should be known that even in high-class restaurants, there were often people who suffered from some minor ailments because of eating some ordinary food. However, they had never seen the staff of a high-class restaurant so meticulously remind the customers to pay attention to it. The sugar-coated haw that had just been made was crispy and sweet on the outside. Together with the slightly sour hawthorn inside, it was really a tempting snack. Sigh, it would be great if such a happy event could happen a few more times. That way, we would be able to eat more of the shop owner's new dishes. When the other guests heard this, they agreed. However, Su Yiyan couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth when he heard this from his employee. A few more times. How many times did he want her to marry him? However, when her uncle and aunt's baby was born or turned 1 month old, they could hold another event. After all, her uncle was one of the major shareholders of the store. It was better to share the joy with everyone than to share it alone. The 300 orders for the carnival restaurant had already been arranged beforehand. $150 for lunch and $150 for dinner. Only the identity information of the person who made the reservation could be used to purchase the order. The quota could not be transferred. In this way, not only could the burden of the store be reduced, but it could also prevent the appearance of some unscrupulous scalpers. However, the restaurant was closed for 3 days. Coupled with the temptation of the red eggs, the 150 customers at noon came especially early and packed together. Su Yiyan finally managed to finalize the orders for everyone. Before he could catch his breath, he received a call from his grandfather. "Yes, I'm at the restaurant now. What do you want to see me for?" "Who is it?" Su Yiyan had just finished speaking when he heard his grandfather mention a very familiar name. Yi Qiliang. Yi Qiliang, the dean of a university's department of pharmacy. Chapter 296. Yi Qiliang, the dean of a university's department of pharmacy, found Su Yiyan with many twists and turns. That day, he happened to see Su Yiyan's live broadcast from his student's channel. He also happened to know that Su Yiyan had been framed, so he personally opened an account in her live broadcast room to observe and hook up with her. In the end, before he could hook up with her, the research institute came out on its own to help Su Yiyan resolve the annoying rumors. After that, Yi Qiliang did think of meeting her to discuss these resurrected ancient earth medicinal herbs with her. However, when he went to the research institute to ask the proud student who had already become the dean of the research institute about Su Yiyan, the senior told him that the research institute's director had told him that Su Yiyan was a descendant of the research institute. The other party told him clearly that the streamer was the descendant of a retired senior in the research institute. The other party had contributed these priceless treasures for free, not because he wanted fame or fortune, but because he did not want anyone to disturb him. Although Yi Qiliang really wanted to meet Su Yiyan, he respected her wishes. He suppressed his curiosity and did not disturb her. It was not until something happened recently that he had to thicken his skin and take the initiative to contact Su Yiyan's grandfather. Then, through Su Yiyan's grandfather, he found Su Yiyan. Su Yiyan was not repulsed by the old man who had helped her before, so she agreed to meet him during her free time in the afternoon. "You're Su Yiyan, right?" Yi Qiliang rushed to Su Yiyan as soon as he entered the door. His movements were so agile that he did not look like an old man in his 60s or 70s. Yi Qiliang looked Su Yiyan up and down. He was surprised and exclaimed, "You're really beautiful. You also know Chinese medicine and medicinal cuisine. You opened a medicinal cuisine restaurant to benefit the masses at such a young age. You're a kind and good child, a good child." Su Yiyan was a little scared at first, but when she heard his string of flattery, she could not help but feel a little embarrassed. "You flatter me. I have nothing to do, so I'm just looking for a living." Yi Qiliang didn't think so. He smiled and said, "You don't have to be modest. Not to mention, with your family's conditions, you don't need to worry about making a living. If you really opened this shop for survival, you wouldn't have given those Chinese medicine seeds to the research institute for free." Su Yiyan smiled but did not reply. She didn't give out the seeds for a simple purpose. Moreover, she had investigated this professor before and knew that he was a respectable senior who had dedicated most of his life to pharmaceutical research. Therefore, she didn't argue with him. "Previously, I encountered some unpleasant things during the live broadcast. Thank you for speaking up for me, Professor. I have always been very grateful." Su Yiyan paused and sat opposite Yi Qiliang. She smiled and said, "I know that Professor Yi has always been interested in Chinese medicine. So, are you here to ask me about Chinese medicine? I did want to ask you about those medicinal herbs before, but that's not the reason why I'm here today." Su Yiyan was startled and a little surprised. "That is, I heard that you can give acupuncture to people." Su Yiyan was even more surprised. So far, she had only given acupuncture to 3 people. One was Ning Chirue, who was gradually entering the recovery period, another was Fan Weiming, who came to see her infertility, and the last was her own husband. Where did you hear about this? Yi Qiliang saw Su Yiyan's surprise and defensiveness. He didn't hide it and said truthfully, "Don't be nervous. I heard about it by chance at the Qi family." The Qi family. Su Yiyan instantly understood who the problem was. Ning Chirue. Chapter 297. Yes, yes, yes. That should be the name of the Qi family's grandson. Su Yiyan caught the main point and probed, "You know Ning Chirue's grandfather? Old man Qi and I are in-laws. His son is my son-in-law." Su Yiyan was speechless. She had to give in to the intricate relationship between in-laws. It turned out that a few days ago, Ning Siyuan and his brother could not completely hide Ning Chirue's illness from the public. As the youngest child of the Ning and Qi families, Ning Chirue had been doted on by both families since he was a child. The 2 families almost had their world come crashing down. Ning Siyuan, who knew the truth but did not report it, almost had to eat his own father's bamboo shoots fried with meat. When the 2 families were in chaos, Yi Qiliang happened to be a guest at the Qi family's house, so he was concerned about his in-laws. That was how he found out about Ning Chirue's illness and that someone was treating him using the ancient Earth's traditional Chinese medicine methods. Yi Qiliang could still hold himself back from looking for her when Chinese medicine suddenly appeared. However, after learning that Su Yiyan actually knew acupuncture, which only existed briefly in ancient books, Yi Qiliang could no longer sit still. "I know it's a bit abrupt to suddenly look for you, but I'm so curious and excited that I couldn't help but come and see you in person." Yi Qiliang could not help but stand up again and stare at Su Yiyan with bright eyes. "Did you really use the ancient Earth's traditional acupuncture to treat old man Qi's grandson?" "Theoretically speaking, it should be." Yi Qiliang did not care about Su Yiyan's faulty wording. He looked at Su Yiyan with a burning gaze. "I heard from the Ning family's boy that you used acupuncture and a kind of herbal incense. Acupuncture is divided into acupuncture and moxibustion. The herbal incense you mentioned is one of the moxibustion methods." Then, Su Yiyan looked at Yi Qiliang's hesitant expression and took the initiative to ask, "Do you want to see the acupuncture needles and the moxibustion incense?" "Can I?" Su Yiyan nodded and took out the set of acupuncture needles that he carried with him. The moment he opened it, Su Yiyan could clearly hear a few gasps coming from the surroundings. The young man beside Yi Qiliang could not help but complain, "Isn't this needle a little too long?" Yi Qiliang was not frightened by these needles. Instead, his eyes lit up as he asked, "Are these the needles used for acupuncture? This is my first time seeing it. Can I touch it?" The corner of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. "Sure, I've just disinfected this needle before coming here. Sterilized." Yi Qiliang looked eager to give it a try. "Then can you help me bandage it?" Everyone, Su Yiyan was speechless. In all her life, this was the first time she had met such a brave warrior who was so eager to be stabbed. Indeed, an old senior who had sacrificed himself for art was not someone ordinary people could compare to. "You can forget about it. This young lady doesn't seem to be feeling very well. You can give her a couple of needles to see what happens." The young lady who was suddenly called out. I'm not, I don't want it." Today, 2 of Yi Qiliang's outstanding students came with him. One was a boy and the other was a girl. The girl's name was Su Yanjun, and the boy was Ping Jiaji, who had sent the video to Yi Qiliang and asked him to take notice of Su Yiyan. "No need, I'm fine." As soon as Su Yanjun finished speaking, she could not help but let out a particularly loud burp. "Burp, Su Yanjun, everyone." Chapter 298. Su Yiyan chuckled. How long have you been burping? You've been burping since you came in. Su Yanjun opened her mouth and was about to say something, but she couldn't help but burp again. The courage that she had worked so hard to muster was mostly gone with the burp. She said miserably, "It started the day before yesterday. I didn't take it to heart at first, but I didn't expect it to get worse in the past 2 days." Burp, Su Yanjun burped as she spoke. It was fine when she didn't speak, as she could hold it in. But now, it was like a switch was turned on, and she would burp every few seconds. Su Yanjun couldn't stop trembling every time she burped. She looked funny and pitiful. Burping is also called hiccup in Chinese medicine. There are many reasons to cause hiccup. It can be fear of the cold or stomach heat. Give me your hand and I'll take your pulse. You know how to take pulses. Yi Qiliang exclaimed. He stared at Su Yiyan as if he was looking at a talking golden doll. Su Yiyan was embarrassed. I know a little. Su Yanjun heard Su Yiyan's words and subconsciously glanced at her teacher. She found that his attention wasn't on her at all. She turned to look at her senior for help. Ping Jiaji received his junior's pleading gaze. His expression changed slightly, and he comforted her in a low voice. It's okay. We're all here. She won't do anything to you. Our dean is considered an authority in this area. If she doesn't have real skills and dares to exaggerate in front of the dean, isn't she seeking her own death? Also, didn't you see the recording in the live broadcast room? Maybe she really has a way. Su Yanjun heard him say so much, and her heart calmed down a little. She reached her hand over. Su Yiyan pinched her wrist and carefully felt it. He quickly came to a conclusion. Have you eaten something particularly cold recently? Something cold. Su Yanjun carefully thought about what she had eaten in the past few days and asked tentatively, does sea crab count? Yes. Su Yiyan withdrew his hand. Your body belongs to the weak type. You're congenitally deficient, and your constitution is cold. Now that it was winter, crabs were cold food, especially sea crabs, which were even more effective. Did you not even add scallions, garlic, and ginger when you ate the crabs? Su Yanjun was dumbfounded and nodded subconsciously. Her uncle was a businessman. When he came back from the seaside city at the end of the year, he brought back a few especially huge sea crabs. He said that they were especially delicious and that the whole family should try a few. That thing looked quite scary. Her mother didn't know how to cook it, so she just boiled some water and steamed it. Then, she added some salt and was done. Now that Su Yiyan mentioned it, she suddenly remembered that on the night she ate the crabs, her stomach did not feel well and she had diarrhea twice. When he woke up the next day, he started to hiccup. When eating seafood, it's best to add some ginger, vinegar, and white wine. Otherwise, not only will it taste fishy, but it will also be cold and can't be suppressed. Su Yanjun looked embarrassed. She thought to herself that she hadn't eaten seafood in the past few years, so how would she know about these taboos? She didn't think that her condition had anything to do with her uncle. After all, her uncle had good intentions and did give some to each family. It was just that other people didn't have any problems eating it. She was the only one who had problems eating it. It could be said that he had done something bad with good intentions. It's not a big problem. First, I'll give you an injection. Then, I'll get someone to cook some medicinal cuisine for you to warm your stomach. Chapter 299. As Su Yiyan spoke, he took out a needle and inserted it into the spot near the center of her pulse. Su Yanjun was still depressed about the crab incident, so she was a little confused when she was suddenly pricked. When she came to her senses, she suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Su Yiyan in horror. Su Yiyan was also frightened by her expression. He blinked and looked at her in confusion. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, it was Ping Jiaji who broke the silence first. Does it hurt? A little. It doesn't hurt as much as I thought. You don't seem to burp anymore. Su Yanjun seemed to wake up from a dream. She subconsciously touched her neck and asked, really? This place is called the Naguan Acupoint. Acupuncture at this place can calm the heart and calm the nerves. It also has a certain effect on stomach pain, hiccups, and vomiting. Su Yiyan spoke as he inserted the needle. After a few breaths, he took the needle out and pressed the Shaoshang acupoint on the side of Su Yanjun's thumb. How do you feel? A little sore and a little painful. Do you still want to burp? I don't think so. Seeing this, Yi Qiliang asked curiously, what's the reason for this? This place is called the Shaoshang acupoint. It's a kind of acupoint in the human body. Because there are a lot of nerve branches in this place, acupuncture is generally not done. But when you burp, press on this position to make the patient feel sore for about half a minute, and it will have a certain effect of stopping the hiccups. Su Yanjun and the others were not the only ones who had never heard of what Su Yiyan said. Yi Qiliang was also very curious about it. His eyes, which were full of vicissitudes of life, became brighter and brighter. Next, I'll ask someone to cook some medicinal cuisine to treat your stomach cold. Half a minute later, Su Yiyan withdrew his hand and asked, do you dare to eat mutton? Yes. Okay, I'll ask them to stew a pot of pepper mutton soup and a bowl of ginger porridge for you. Wait here for a while. Su Yanjun, who had personally experienced the wonders of acupuncture, believed most of Su Yiyan's words, but, how about we forget about it? A trace of embarrassment flashed across Su Yanjun's face. I didn't bring much money today. As soon as Su Yanjun finished speaking, Yi Qiliang spoke up first, it's fine, it's fine. Teacher Su, just let them stew it. I'll pay for everything here today. Teacher Su. Su Yiyan was a little confused by this strange nickname that suddenly popped out. Su Yanjun was a little flustered. Professor, there's no need. This is too, however, Yi Qiliang interrupted her first. You did well on your thesis this semester. Take it as a reward from me as your mentor. I'll treat you to a meal. Moreover, all of you are here to accompany me today. How can I let you pay for it? But, no buts. It's settled then. Su Yanjun choked, blushed, and did not refuse again. Ping Jiaji's eyes turned slightly. He licked his lips and leaned over. He chuckled and said, Teacher, since you've already invited Yan Jun, why don't you treat me as well? Yi Qiliang glanced at him and said in disdain, I'm not treating you. You pay for it yourself. Teacher, you're biased. Biased, my ass. Why don't you take a look at the damned thesis you handed in last week? It almost pissed me off. How dare you ask me to treat you to a meal? I'm already being magnanimous by not treating you to a meal with my teaching rod. Yi Qiliang pretended to hit him. Ping Jiaji hurriedly ran out and stood in front of them. He said embarrassedly, Miss Su, look at my crooked neck. Can it be treated? Do you want to give me a few injections too? Su Yiyan was speechless. Chapter 300. The crooked neck that Ping Jiaji mentioned was not really crooked, but a stiff neck. A week ago, Ping Jiaji went back to his hometown. Due to the new house moving, he temporarily stayed at his uncle's house for 2 nights. He was used to a soft pillow, so after sleeping on his uncle's hard, super high pillow for 2 days, he could not move his neck anymore. It hurt when he tried to straighten it slightly, and it turned a good young man like him into a crooked neck. If this continued, How could he find a wife in the future? Wasn't this a blatant warning to girls not to hang themselves on his crooked neck? Su Yiyan got up and pressed him into the chair. She looked around for a while with a serious expression. Peng Jiaji's heart suddenly thumped, and he trembled as he asked, "Can it be cured?" "Yes." Su Yiyan pondered for a moment, "But you don't need to use acupuncture. Let me give you a massage." Massage. Yi Qiuliang's mind was hooked by this new term. It's also a kind of treatment technique. If it's light, it can dredge the meridians and adjust the blood flow. If it's heavy, it can set the bones. However, a normal newbie should pay attention to the control of strength. If the strength is too light, it will not be able to achieve the treatment effect. If the strength is too heavy, it may cause the patient to be injured or even worsen the injury. Su Yiyan herself had the support function to help her quickly familiarize herself with these basic skills, but others might not have this awareness. If Yi Qiuliang saw that she had helped his student with a few massages, he would go back and find someone to test the problem. If he pursued the matter, he might come to her. It was better to be prepared in advance. Yi Qiuliang listened to Su Yiyan's words thoughtfully and did not rush to ask. Su Yiyan did not mind. After washing her hands, she pressed on Peng Jiaji's neck. The treatment of stiff neck mainly used the Feng Qi, Feng Fu, Tianzhu, and other acupuncture points. She repeatedly massaged them to relax the muscles and relieve the spasms. For more serious cases of stiff neck, she also needed to use some extreme measures. Peng Jiaji's stiff neck was already considered serious because of the time and the nerve compression. After Su Yiyan finished the initial massage, she took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Relax." Then, she used her left palm to support his chin and her right palm to support the back of his head, slowly rotating his neck. When Peng Jiaji completely relaxed, she suddenly increased the rotation and exerted force. A cracking sound broke the silence in the room, causing the atmosphere in the room to stagnate. Peng Jiaji. Everyone in the room. A few seconds later, Peng Jiaji jumped up from the chair and screamed, "Head, head, head. Is my head still there?" Su Yiyan. Everyone. Yi Qiuliang was the first to react. He was shocked and angry. "Are you a pig? If you don't have your head, would you still be a ghost if you're still alive and kicking and screaming like a ghost?" Only then did Peng Jiaji remember to reach out to touch his neck and head. It's still there, and... Peng Jiaji looked at this and then at that and became more excited. "It's fixed, fixed. Good for you." Yi Qiuliang looked at this student who was less mature than a girl and scolded him jokingly. He turned to Su Yiyan and said, "Miss Su, just now to put it bluntly, stiff neck means that his neck is a little dislocated." I pushed it back. Su Yiyan wiped her hands and said wittily, "I'll say it again. Do not imitate dangerous actions. If you're not a professional, that push just now might have really caused the neck to crack." Peng Jiaji. Everyone. Chapter 301. Peng Jiaji's face was ashen. He felt a sense of fear and relief after escaping from a disaster. Your pillow is mainly due to your improper sleeping posture and the pillow. Be more careful in the future. You don't want to experience that again, right? Peng Jiaji nodded with a pale face. He felt that after today, the word pillow would leave a psychological shadow in his heart. QAQ. After the scare, they no longer had any doubts about Su Yiyan's ability. Su Yiyan had just informed the kitchen to prepare an extra portion of medicinal cuisine for Su Yanjun. When she looked up, she saw Yi Qiuliang's excited and twisted expression. She was so frightened that she gasped. Su Yuxuan and Qing Juanhao, who came along because they were worried, had been on the sidelines. They hadn't even reacted to the fact that their little sister, niece, had learned these strange abilities that they had never heard of before. When they saw this scene, they frowned slightly and rushed to Su Yian's left and right, blocking Yi Qiliang, the weird grandpa, to prevent him from doing anything strange to Su Yian. Yi Qiliang also realized that he had lost his composure. He coughed softly and rubbed his hands. "I don't mean any harm. I'm just a little excited. Also, I have something that I need Teacher Su's help with. You can just call me by my name." Su Yiyan still didn't let down her guard. She had a feeling that something bad was going to happen after Yi Qiliang called her Teacher Su. As it turned out, her sixth sense was quite accurate. "What do you want me to help with?" "I'm going to set up a new subject in the school." Qing Junhao furrowed his brows and asked first, "What subject?" "It's a subject that specializes in teaching people how to identify these Chinese herbs and how to use them. It's also a subject that allows people to choose some Chinese medicine skills." Su Yiyan was startled by his words. A bold idea came to her mind. "You can't be. I want to invite Miss Su to be a special lecturer for this subject." "Teacher." Su Yiyan was stunned. No wonder he kept calling her teacher. He was waiting for her. No. I can't do it. I've never wanted to be a teacher. Moreover, my ability isn't enough to teach others. You think too highly of me." Yi Qiliang only felt that she was being modest. "If you can't do it, I'm afraid no one else in this world can. Before I came, I had some doubts. But now that I've seen your ability with my own eyes, I've underestimated you." The expression on Su Yian's face froze. She did not know how to accept the compliment from the elderly. Yi Qiliang misunderstood her hesitation and said dejectedly, "Of course, I also know that this request is very presumptuous. After all, these things is, of to a certain extent, the skills to a person's or of A's or his or of their skills. The rarer something was, the more precious it was. But if these things were really made public, how could these people make profits and ensure their lives? As the saying goes, cutting off one's source of income is tantamount to killing one's parents." When he heard that Su Yiyan had given the seeds to the research institute for free and opened a medicinal cuisine restaurant with a low average price, he naturally thought that she would help. But he neglected the fact that she was willing to take out these things because he was magnanimous. But if he forced her to take out these things, he would be asking for a yard after taking an inch, and his morals would be taken hostage. Chapter 302. It's my fault for being thoughtless and making things difficult for you. Yi Qiliang bowed to Su Yian with a guilty look on his face. Su Yian felt a little upset seeing him like this. The person in front of her was truly selfless and loved Chinese medicine. He loved everything related to it. Human eyes could not lie. She could feel his sincerity. He had never thought of keeping these things in his hands to amass wealth. But asking her to teach others, Su Yiyan took a deep breath and tried to ask the system, "Can I teach what I've learned in the system to others?" The system was silent for a few seconds before responding. "Yes. There won't be any bad consequences, right? No, there won't be any problems when the host taught the method of medicinal cuisine to her subordinates, right? That's not the same. The effects of medicinal cuisine are relatively weak. Moreover, the medicinal cuisine in the restaurant can only be made with my permission, so it's still within my control. He's asking me to teach those I don't know. What if she really taught some people, but those people's abilities were not good enough, but they went to treat others for the sake of their unconventional vanity? Would it be her fault if something went wrong?" The system was silent for a few seconds before speaking again. The host's concerns are reasonable. However, there was a saying in ancient Earth, "The master can show you the way, but the cultivation depends on the person. Some people can do the same thing well, while others can't. This is very normal. Those who can do it well will continue to persevere, while those who can't will be eliminated. The system was different from humans. It had a powerful database, so its words were naturally more rational. However, host, are you sure you want to do this? What? If you teach these things, the host's abilities will be replicated. Perhaps it won't be that special to the world anymore. At that time, it might be more difficult to steal the halo of the female lead. Host, don't you want to change the fate of yourself and your family? Su Yiyan's heart trembled. She couldn't help but struggle. After Yi Qiliang apologized, he didn't want to disturb her any longer. He left with his 2 students. However, 1 second before he walked out of the room, Su Yiyan called out, "Professor Yi, I need to think about it." Yi Qiliang stopped in his tracks and turned to look at her in surprise. Su Yiyan avoided his eyes, not allowing him to affect her too much. "I need some time to think." The fact that Su Yiyan did not reject him directly meant that he was still struggling in his heart. He was not completely indifferent to his proposal. A glimmer of hope appeared in Yi Qiliang's eyes again. His eyes reddened as he said, all right. Take your time to think about it. There's no rush. No matter what decision you make, you don't have to worry." It was easy to refuse a purposeful plea, but a humble plea could always soften one's heart. After Yi Qiliang and the others left, Su Yiyan heaved a huge sigh of relief. However, she saw her brother and uncle looking at her with complicated expressions. "What's wrong? Is there something on my face?" Qing Juanhao's face was unprecedentedly serious. "Yan, how do you know all these things? Clearly, I've never heard you mention them before." Su Yuxuan echoed, "That's right. We've lived together for over 20 years. As your older brother, I actually didn't know that you knew all these strange things. The medicinal cuisine from before was one thing, but now..." Su Yuxuan never realized that the little sister he had doted on since childhood was so unfamiliar. Chapter 303. It wasn't that Su Yiyan hadn't imagined such a scenario before, but when it really happened, there was an indescribable complexity in her heart. After a moment of silence, she said in a hoarse voice, "Detected that the host has the intention to expose the system. Warning, warning, warning." The words that were about to come out of Su Yiyan's mouth were forcefully stopped by a bunch of big red and bold exclamation marks. "What?" "I'm saying that the reason why I know and understand these things is because of Grandpa." "Grandpa?" Su Yuxuan turned to look at Qing Juanhao, and they both saw the unexpected surprise in each other's eyes. "You're saying that Grandpa taught you all these things?" "To be precise, it's the information that Grandpa gave me." Qing Juanhao still didn't believe it. "Why haven't I heard Dad mention this before?" Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly red, and she tried her best not to let the 2 of them see her nervousness and guilt. "This is a secret between Grandpa and me." "A secret?" Qing Juanhao felt more and more ridiculous. "Then why are you talking about it now? Moreover, Dad was clearly very surprised when he saw you cook those dishes before. Most importantly, if his father already knew about these things, then why didn't he say a word for so many years when he could have helped them? Why did he just watch them do all kinds of things for their child?" Su Yiyan knew what Qing Juanhao wanted to say, so she hurriedly explained, "I got the medicinal cuisine recipe from an old friend of Grandpa's who passed away 2 years ago. Although Grandpa knew about it, he didn't know what was written in it." "An old friend who passed away?" Qing Juanhao's mind was a little confused. Did his father have an old friend who passed away 2 years ago? "Yes, it's an old friend who lives in a more remote area. You can go back and ask Grandpa." Qing Juanhao was originally skeptical of Su Yiyan's words, but after seeing how certain she was, he was a little shaken. Really? Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? After the first lie came out, the rest followed suit. As for why I'm willing to tell you now, it's because you asked, and I don't want to lie to you. Moreover, since I've already decided to take these things out, rather than letting your imaginations run wild, I might as well tell you the truth. Su Yiyan looked at Qing Juanhao apologetically as she said, Uncle, I didn't mean to be indifferent to your anxiousness. It's just that my treatment method is too unique. I haven't tried it in the beginning, and I'm afraid that I'll cause problems. Also, before this, I wasn't sure if I could really help you. I was worried that if I gave you hope, you wouldn't be able to get pregnant. Qing Juanhao's face finally looked better. He also realized that he had pushed himself into a dead end. He sighed softly and said, I don't blame you. Your aunt won't blame you either. We should be thanking you that she's pregnant now. Su Yiyan smiled and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Su Yuxuan still felt that something was wrong. She frowned and said, I believe you when you say that Grandpa gave you the information. After all, Grandpa has so many books. It's reasonable for you to occasionally find one or two miscellaneous books that you're interested in. But what about those medicinal herb seeds? Su Yuxuan stared at her sister, trying to find an answer from her eyes. How do you explain those medicinal herb seeds? I heard that those seeds aren't in the research institute. Where did you find them? Su Yiyan, who had carefully dealt with the two of them and did not reveal any flaws, collapsed on the chair as soon as the two of them left, as if he had just fought a great battle. After she caught her breath, she immediately contacted her grandfather, who had been dragged into this mess by her. Grandpa. The moment the call was connected, Su Yiyan could only call out, Grandpa. The rest of her words seemed to be blocked by something and were stuck in her throat. Yes, old man, you went to look for you. Old Master Qing seemed to hear something wrong in her voice. He asked with concern, did he bully you? No. Su Yiyan listened to his voice and felt indescribably complicated. Her throat moved a few times before she said in a hoarse voice, I just told a lie. A very big lie to my brother and uncle. Chapter 305. After that, Su Yiyan didn't need Grandpa Qing to ask further. She repeated what she had just said to the two of them word for word. Grandpa Qing didn't reprimand Su Yiyan after hearing it. He didn't ask for an answer like the two of them did. He replied indifferently, okay, I got it. It was as if what Su Yiyan had just said was just a trivial matter. Su Yiyan's heart was heavy. In front of this elder who had always tolerated her and helped her, she showed her truest and most helpless side. Grandpa, why don't you ask? They all want to know. Why don't you ask? Grandpa Qing was silent for a long time before he sighed. It's normal for young people to have their own little secrets. You've had your own ideas since you were young. Grandpa knows your temperament. If it wasn't for a particularly difficult reason, you would never lie to your family. Yen, you have to remember that even if everyone forces you, Grandpa will always stand by your side unconditionally. He will help you keep your secret and protect you. So, don't feel too much pressure in everything. Grandpa is here. When Su Yiyan heard this, she finally couldn't hold back the tears in her eyes. In this uncertain future, she was able to have a family member and an elder who supported her unconditionally. He told her that Grandpa was here. She didn't have to feel any pressure. No matter how heavy the snow was, he would be at the front to help her. In his eyes, she would always be a child who needed to be protected. She would always be a junior who was worthy of his trust. What happened today made Su Yiyan upset. She originally planned to go to the Upper East City in the afternoon to check on the situation, but her plan was put on hold. After arranging the order for the evening with great difficulty, Su Yiyan returned to the family Huo with a heart full of worries. Hua Qinhuan didn't expect Su Yiyan to come back so early. He was surprised and pleasantly surprised at the same time. Why are you back so early? Did you miss me? As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yiyan rushed over to him and hugged him. Yan. Hua Qinhuan was keenly aware that Su Yiyan's mood was not right. He patted her back to comfort her and asked, "What happened? Did someone bully you?" "No, no one bullied me." "Then, I want to ask you a question." "What?" "If there's something that benefits the public, but it may not be appreciated by others, or even cause trouble for you and by your family, would you do it? If that's the case, would you still be willing to do it?" Hua Qinhuan's eyes turned cold when he heard what she said. He thought of the news that his subordinates had sent over today and already had some guesses in his mind. "I don't think what you said is the most, by you, what for you too. Do you like it?" Hua Qinhuan held Su Yiyan's face and forced her to look at him. "Do you like it? If you like it, do it. If you don't like it, refuse. You have the right to choose. I'll give you the right to choose. I'll bear any consequences for you." It was a simple promise, but it had unshakable determination and courage, which made people's hearts sway uncontrollably. "I've never cared about benefiting the public, and I don't care if I get the gratitude of others. I've always only cared about you. If you're happy, I'll be happy. If you're sad, I'll be sad. Life is full of emotions, greed, anger, stupidity, and slowness. They all belong to one person." Chapter 306. Su Yiyan was amused by Hua Qinhuan's words. As she laughed, tears came out of her eyes. "Grandpa and you'll spoil me like this." Hua Qinhuan used a little strength and placed Su Yiyan on his lap. He teased, "I'm curious. What will you be like after I spoil you?" Su Yiyan laughed. "I'll probably be spoiled and arrogant. I'll climb over your head and show off. For example, if I'm in a bad mood today, you'll sleep in the guest room alone tonight." Hua Qinhuan's eyes darkened, but he said, "You've been wronged outside and are in a bad mood. It's natural for me to let you sleep in. But I'm afraid I won't be used to sleeping in separate rooms." Su Yiyan. "You won't be used to it. Didn't you sleep alone before? We've only slept together for 2 days, and you're already not used to it. You've developed this habit too quickly. If I wake up in the middle of the night and miss you, and there's no way to enter your room from the front door, I'm afraid I can only learn from others and sneak in through the window." "You'll climb through the window?" Su Yiyan was angry and amused. "Are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of falling if you climb through the window?" Su Yiyan couldn't say that word. She could only glare at him. Hua Qinhuan wasn't scared off by Su Yiyan's glare. Instead, he revealed a sly smile. "So, can you bear to do it?" "What?" "Sleeping in separate rooms means a night attack. If you attack me at night, I might get hurt. Can you bear to do it?" "You." Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed. How could she not understand that she had been tricked? She couldn't bear to hit him, and she didn't know how to scold him. In the end, she could only snort coldly to express her dissatisfaction. Hua Qinhuan didn't intend to let her go so easily. He continued to ask, "Can you bear to do it? If you don't answer, I'll take it as a yes. I'll ask Uncle Zhang for a ladder later." Not only did he climb through the window to launch a sneak attack, he even sought outside help. And he even asked Uncle Zhang for help. If you were to spread the news, wouldn't everyone in the family know about it? It might even spread outside. Su Yiyan admitted that she could not afford to lose this kind of face. Her face was so red that it was about to bleed. She flew into a rage out of humiliation. I don't want to, she said. Then how about the runes? Su Yiyan glared at him fiercely. No more. Hua Qinhuan laughed and said helplessly, is this what you mean when you say that she is spoiled? If that's the case, I hope you can be more arrogant. Su Yiyan was stunned. She vaguely understood the meaning of Hua Qinhuan's words just now. The tears that she had suppressed with great difficulty once again rushed to her eyes. Hua Qinhuan lowered his head and kissed her eyes. Then he moved down and gently kissed the tear stains on her face. There wasn't the slightest bit of lust. There was only tenderness and heartache. There was also a trace of inhumane possessiveness. Do what you want to do. Don't underestimate your husband. Even if the sky falls, I can hold it up. When Su Yiyan heard him say this, her expression was a little subtle. He could hold it up even if the sky fell. In her previous life, he had done it. After she died, he personally pierced the sky, causing the world to collapse. Because of this, she was given a chance to start over. You're so powerful, but it makes me look stupid. If you're not stupid, how can I, as your husband, be useful? So, I beg you, be a little stupid, be a little more aggressive, rely on me more, and find something for me to do, okay? You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.